Hey guys, it's Feedback Friday. Yes, it's Feedback Friday. And of course, this was going to be the video for this Feedback Friday. Of course, it was because of the topic. And I was aware of that going in. It was also the approach I decided to take to this topic, which is why I labeled it a rant. See this rant? Yes, that is an indication that it is not, you know, a sane, sober discussion of the whole thing. It's a blow off steam type thing. And I'd like to thank people right off the bat who got that, who got a chuckle out of it, who took it in the spirit that it was given. That's great. And you are the people that I am going to continue to make videos for. People with a sense of humor, people who can take a joke, people who understand that when an idea or a way of thinking is being examined, it is not negating someone completely as a person. You are the people I want to keep making videos for. So I want you to understand going forward, the people I address next are not going to influence what I do. And this is the theme of this video. I have really hit a point where, for the sake of the people that do understand what I'm doing, that actually like my content and watch my content regularly, there comes a point in time where I just have to start ignoring it's not even criticisms anymore, and I'll show you what I mean, guys. The insults that are flung at me from people who are just angry. I do not exist to pet people's heads. I do try to take an affirmational approach to things, but I cannot pet the heads of 2,000 people in every video I do. I'm sorry, it's just not possible. In order to make any money at YouTube, in order to build your YouTube channel, you have to say things that are, I don't like the word contentious. You don't deliberately try to provoke controversy, but you don't shy away from controversial subjects either, because opinions on controversial subjects are what people want to watch, right? People don't want to watch something that they think is just a done deal, it's assumed. So you do have to tackle controversial subjects like this one, and people are going to get pissed off. And sometimes people take their pissed offedness to various internet message boards and Reddits, and they get into these echo chambers, and you start going, this criticism is invalid, I'm not even going to go to this site anymore. Because it's just, this isn't informing me, this isn't making me better. It's just showing how people excel at putting words in my mouth and saying I said things I didn't say. So, and I was inspired this week by a twit longer by Total Biscuit. And he talked about the fact that, he used to Google himself. And it put him in the point where he felt like he needed therapy because of the emotional impact of Googling himself. And I could relate to that, not because I think I've Googled myself maybe 5 times in my entire life. And that was because I was being cyber stalked and I needed to do it for the cybersecurity professionals so that they could go through and, try to get some of this malicious stuff taken down. And let me tell you, that's not a fun process. I don't enjoy seeing what people say about me because, when it's a compliment, it's usually something to do with me being hot, which words cannot describe how little I care about the whole hot thing at this point in my life. Not that I'm saying I'm offended if people say that. I'm saying it shouldn't matter. And, I want to be seen for my ideas first, not whether someone wants to fuck me. I find that creepy because you're not going to. You're not going to, okay? So I don't understand why. And I get that people can say somebody's attractive without going there, but, people get a little filthy. The insults tend to be just that. They're insults. They're not constructive. I I enjoy the notes process. And that's the thing when people say I'm thin-skinned and can't handle criticism and all that stuff. This is going back to what I was saying in this initial video, and I'm going to say it in the way I would actually say it if I weren't, taking the piss out of something. I wasn't taking the piss out of the tone of the internet, which is what I was doing in this video, which is why I called it a rant. I'll leave that up so people can see that. So, I'm not the only YouTuber that does this. People has like an alter ego. There's a reason I labeled it a rant, so people know. And so, the reality is that when you're a writer for a living, there is a notes process. And that notes process involves someone saying when you did something that wasn't strong enough, or you had to punch it up, or you have to take another crack at it, or you have to get to the point faster. No one making a living at writing can avoid this process. And if you don't enjoy that process, you're not going to enjoy being a writer, because rewrites are a major part of it. I really very much enjoy taking a piece that I thought was good to begin with, but taking advice from a person I respect, reworking and seeing, okay, this part is stronger, or this is now more accessible to more people, or okay, I see what they were getting at there. That's part of the joy of the process. And I think this is an element of the process of writing that a lot of people who see fit to critique writing don't understand. Because anybody that says an author is thin-skinned knows nothing about the process of being a writer. And this was the point I was trying to make, that criticism is inherent in being a writer. And some people are better at taking it than others. But the reality is the good writing comes from a place you care about. And so if you just go, meh, when something's criticized, it usually means you didn't really care that much. I find it easier when I'm, something like this, where I'm deliberately, swearing my head off and getting angry and pretending to be all inflamed and knowing some people are going to miss the joke. It doesn't bother me when, what is it, 100 and something, 131 people dislike it, more dislikes than likes, because I was deliberately being provocative. When I'm talking about something I enjoy, when I'm being heartfelt, and people decide to be assholes about that, well, that bothers me a lot more, because that's just people responding to, kindness with cruelty, instead of responding to being an asshole with also being an asshole. But people took it even further than that. And I haven't read what people have said on other message boards, because I just don't see the point. But other people feel inclined to tell me that I'm being bashed on certain message boards. And there's certain message boards and certain subreddits that I am just so sick of at this point. I don't even pay attention. I say, they're just fools. And yes, that is collective blame, folks. Here's the thing. When the majority of people somewhere are foolish and there are a few good people, it doesn't make any sense to spend that much energy sorting through all the fools to get to the few good people. As far as I'm concerned, the few good people know where I am. They can continue to converse with me and, engage in my content on places that are not these dark corners of the internet. If you choose to go there, you are choosing to enter an area known for abusive tactics. And yes, there's that word abuse again. When you are insulting as opposed to criticizing, when you're attacking the person, not discussing the idea, that is abusive. Not physically abusive, but emotional abuse does a lot of damage on people. I go back to that twit longer from Total Biscuit, where he said he needed therapy from reading what people on the internet were saying about him. And this does not mean that Total Biscuit is thin-skinned. I think Total Biscuit is one of the thickest skinned people I engage, whose content I watch on YouTube. And I like to see those moments where he admits, yeah, this got to me. because it shows he's a human being to me and he cares about what he does and he wants to create quality content that people enjoy. Because that's what we're doing. We want to do things that people enjoy. We're not deliberately trying to anger people. I wasn't deliberately trying to anger people with this thing. I want to be clear. I thought a lot more people would get the joke than did. And it really amazed me the number of people that took the comment I made about anime porn completely the wrong way. They turned it into, I was saying, all people who watch anime porn are something. No, that was just a reference detail, guys. That's what you do to make something funnier. Like, the thing people would say in this situation in the circles you guys frequent is, calm your tits, okay? The people that complained about this video, what struck me is they are the ones who feel like they are completely entitled to be nasty to other people when they feel they're right. But they can't take it when the shoe's on the other foot. So I tried to do some little social experimentation where I started throwing their words at them. Things like, you move the goalpost and grow a thicker skin, or you're being thin-skinned. And it was amazing how many complaints I got from people who use this language themselves. And that tells me that these are people I do not have to listen to. Because when you're that hypocritical, when you can't take what you dish out, then you're not just trying to engage in fair criticism. You're not trying to engage in the marketplace of ideas. You're being a bully. You're doing something you know hurts. And when you're asked to stop, you don't stop. So those are the people I don't listen to. And I want to go through some of these comments that someone said. The reason I'm doing this is someone went on Twitter and said, I went on your YouTube channel and I'm not seeing this abuse and things like that you're talking about. So basically, that's an implication that I'm a liar. But I want to show you these YouTube comments so you can decide for yourself whether this is fair criticism or whether this is people being assholes. Now, fair criticism, I want to point out in advance, is accurate criticism, right? I think we can all agree on that. Okay, here we go. 4 in 10 women admit to having rape fantasies. This has been shown in study after study since the 1970s. But one small study about men having a rape fantasy, and all of a sudden we have a national conversation. I have no idea. That study was little more than a hit piece on men anyways. Disappointed in you, Liana. Disappointed in you is something I said don't say. It was one of the things that I was angry about fake angry about in the video. So this is someone just being a jackass. Okay, it's trying to push my buttons. Didn't work. And I have no idea what this even refers to. I wasn't talking about this at all. This is someone thinking they have a nugget of information that's some sort of Rosetta Stone to understanding humanity, and they throw it in places it doesn't belong. I don't even know what this comment means. Next one. Unless you produced and made a successful game, you don't know anything about them, so your opinion is invalid. There, I've just used your own logic to nullify your entire career in games media. That line of reasoning doesn't work, Liana. That would be great if I actually used that line of logic. It wasn't. It wasn't what I was saying at all. It's that if you're not an informed expert on writing, you cannot say with certainty something is good or bad writing. Same way you don't know if it's good or bad law. Same way you don't know if it's good or bad electrical work. Unless you have studied, you don't know. And this is actually flat out wrong. I have worked on a couple of games. Not games I've covered. For the record, I had very small parts. The biggest, like the best known game, because I've been very small, but the best known game is a game called Battle Stations Pacific, where I was not just a model in-game, but I actually worked to get I did some casting for them. So nobody makes a game on their own. Well, not many people do. So I was a small part of that process, but I have engaged in the process of getting a game to market. So this just isn't true. I have engaged in the industry. I have worked in that, in that capacity. So this commenter doesn't know what they were talking about. Moving on. Liana, you can get pissed off all you want, but you have to understand that people's reactions to that study are a direct result of feminism lying about shit like 1 in 4 women are raped every day. Feminism is not a person, folks. Feminism is a large, diverse, and contradictory movement. Feminism itself does not have any opinion other than feminism is about equal rights for women. It is about correcting the gender imbalance in various societies. Feminism itself has not said a goddamn thing. Okay? Feminism is a movement. And once again, you've got all these people engaging in leaderless movements who attack whole cloth a movement like feminism that doesn't just have no leaders. It has people openly disagreeing with other. Camille Paglia is a feminist. Christina Hoff Sommers is a feminist. Beyonce is a feminist. Taylor Swift is a feminist. What's her name? Andrea Dworkin is a feminist, even though I disagree with everything that person says. That doesn't mean she's not a feminist, and that doesn't mean I can prove she's lying. There are studies, and sometimes studies make mistakes, or sometimes studies define questions in ways that other people disagree with. They think that the parameters of the experiment or the parameters of the question were too broad. That does not mean that someone lied. And the overuse of the word lie, to me, is just throwing smoke on a conversation to try to prove your point through dishonest means. I don't even know what these things are talking about. See, somebody else got it. But I mean, things like that. People's reactions to what study? What study? It's an article. It's not a study. What study? Be clear, people. I don't know what you're saying. If you're not clear, I dismiss you. Done. I'm skipping this guy because I responded to him personally. If we stop doing things because it triggers some people, then society would just fall. I don't like farms. There goes food production. I don't like big companies. There goes medicine. I don't like science. There goes the advancement of society. I don't like fictional rape. There geeps freedom of expression. I'm not sure what geeps is, but it's goes. It's just a typo. Guys, if you're going to criticize me, at least check your spelling, please. Because that's like an obvious typo. But okay, farms, big companies, science. Maybe big companies are a little bit contentious, but farms and science don't tend to offend most people. Fictional rape is something different. That's just ridiculous. You know. And, you know, people say these things, and this is an absurdist argument. I didn't, like I said, going on. I don't know what to say. And then people are arguing about my whole thing about, blah, blah, blah. And then this guy again, I didn't respond to him the first time, but he's commenting again. I guess dragons like to have one-way conversations, but have to disagree with you that just because a site has an editorial process and paid journalists, the writing isn't shit writing. Everything from Craptaku is shit writing. Well, no, that's not true that everything from Kotaku is shit writing. Same with Polygon, same with Gawker. Plenty of paid journalists make amateur spelling and grammar errors, their formatting sucks, etc. No, Poppet. The problem that people have with these sites is not that they make grammatical errors. The problem people have with these sites is that they believe that they are twisting facts to invoke a response or go after some kind of perceived enemy. That's bad journalism, but it is not bad writing. Just because something is a piece of propaganda does not make it bad writing. Propaganda is brilliantly written writing, especially the effective stuff. And this is why I think it's so important that people distinguish between bad writing and bad journalism or getting the story wrong. Something can be eloquently written and get facts wrong. And that's not bad writing. It might be bad research. But I think that people would get further with their complaints, if they stop being petty, for starters, but also if they actually started identifying what's really wrong with the stuff. Now, I'll meet this guy in the middle here that sites like, I'll say Gama Sutra because that's the one I know about, have a blog section where people are not subjected to the editorial process. They can put up what they want. But those are separate elements of the site. The piece in Wired that I was talking about, the way it was set up clearly went through some sort of editorial process. Someone read that and thought it was, a decent degree of writing. And the thing about editors is you don't want them rejecting a piece because they personally disagree with the politics of it. Editors need to say, okay, you've made a compelling argument. I don't have to agree. That's not my job. My job is not to gatekeep based on political ideology. So people who are talking about stuff like that, does stuff get missed? Sure. Is everybody under the gun way too fast? Yes. But for the most part, one grammatical mistake or one missed typo does not make something a piece of shit writing. It is one mistake. It isn't amazing or shit. That's binary thinking. Mediocrity is a big, wide, gray area that people don't acknowledge very often. And, saying that, oh, it's crap because I disagree with it. Well, imagine if editors at websites took that tact. Isn't that what so many people are upset about? That things are being dismissed because they don't agree with the concept? Dangerous thinking here, guys. And I understand that you're angry. You have every right to be using the "you don't get laid and jack off a lot" insult, though, seems a little beneath you as a journalist. This is my personal YouTube channel. How many times have I said this? This is my personal YouTube channel. Personal YouTube channel. That's the point of it. A little beneath you as a journalist. Oh, these are people that think I'm subhuman for being a journalist anyway, first of all, so I don't listen to comments like that anymore. Second of all, shame tactics? Shame tactics? Guys, shame tactics don't work. Yeah. You got your panties in a twister about the Tomb Raider scene that wasn't even remotely sexual violence or anything. Mother of God. Idiot. See, I'm not supposed to do that, but what is someone supposed to do when someone leaves a comment like this? There's no meat to this. Wasn't even remotely sexual violence. I disagree. It was an implied scene of a sexual predatory attitude on the part of a random guy. We disagree there. Mother of God. No substance here. No substance here. So the only thing you can do is go, I'm not going to be fucking tone policed because I brushed that stuff off. I hope it finally dawns on you, Gigi, that Liana isn't one of the good feminists, if there's even such a thing. She's just like all the rest. ITT, Liana defends unethical journalism. And there we have it, folks. The ideological zealots show their face. Come to me as a person, folks. Come to me as an individual, not speaking to a movement that claims to have no leaders. This crap, you're not talking to Gamergate here, you little, I'm not going to say it. These are comments on my YouTube channel. And unfortunately, this person said she's allowed to vent. We can vent back if we disagree. Grow a thicker fucking skin, dude. This guy's right, or girl's right, or whoever they are. Someone pulling this shit is precisely why more and more people are backing away from these groups. It's not just Gamergate. It's groups like this in general. There are feminist groups like this too. When you start getting all these people going, look, group that claims to have no leaders, look at what a horrible person this thing is. This person does not say why I'm not one of the quote good feminists. This person does not say why I allegedly defend unethical journalism. This person just goes, look, inherent proof, large group of angry people, get her. I'm sorry, that's attempting to cause someone grief. I'm not going to call this harassment, but it's not healthy internet activity. And I'm not saying this is exclusive to Gamergate. People who have listened to me on this YouTube channel know that's not the way I feel. But this kind of crap is something that has no place. I should actually just delete this damn comment. Because this, to me, this is just trying to start shit. This is just trying to start something. This is trying to get someone dogpiled. This is trying to get people to be angry and attack a target. And guess what a group of people attacking a target based on very little good reason is, guys? Guess what it is. If you don't want people saying that you are a harassment group, and I am not singling Gamergate out with this, it's everybody that uses these tactics. If you do not want people saying you engage in harassment, don't do shit like this. It is too much of a gray area. There is an argument to be made that this is attempting to get someone dogpiled. And there is an argument to be made that dogpiling is a form of harassment. So if you don't want people calling you harassers, stay out of this stuff. And they're getting their comments hidden. You know? And I'm sure you guys have seen that people can disagree with me, but stuff like that has no substance, there's no substance there. They don't back up their argument. And this is the thing that I was talking about in this original video. People who don't actually know how to make a solid argument themselves are judging people for not making a solid argument. You haven't proved you can do it yourself. You have no right to judge other people. Now, does this mean you have to like everything? No, absolutely not. As I said, saying, I don't like this. You know, that's different than saying it's bad. Case in point, I don't like Grand Theft Auto games. I don't. I can intellectually accept what they are. I can understand why people like them. Personally, I find them boring. I don't connect to them. And I don't find it a particularly enjoyable experience. Now, I'm not going to list the rules that it's the reasons it's a bad game. Because it's not for me. It doesn't target me as a person or me as a member of a demographic or anything like that. It touches on things I don't understand. I don't power game. Okay, so running guns where you're splattering unlimited ammo and there's almost no challenge, like, you know, certain levels in Halo, you know, certainly the earlier Halo games were like that. I don't understand. I don't get them. But I'm not going to say Halo's a bad game. I'm going to say it's not for me. And you know, Halo 2 is probably my favorite Halo game. That's the one I enjoy. I mean, I can admit the Needler was crazy overpowered in that game, just like, you know, there's an overpowered weapon in almost every Halo game, though they are getting better. It's just not one of my favorites. Now, I'm not going to say it's a bad game. You know, I don't understand why these games sell so much, but that doesn't mean they're bad games, right? And why can I say that I just don't like them, but I'm not going to say they're bad games? Because not every game is for everyone. Not every piece of writing is for everyone. And I think that this article, though I didn't agree with all of it, not every sentence, no. You know, not every sentence. No, I don't have to agree with every sentence. I think that it is totally fair and interesting for someone to issue cautions in writing scenes that can dredge up some very, very painful memories for people if you're not somebody who really understands what that feels like. I think that is totally fair to say. And I think that too many people are reacting in this piece to the, here's my advice, don't do it. But if you are going to do it, you know, That's a rhetorical device. And it didn't work in this case for whatever reason with too many people. But the reason I guess it sort of works for me is because, I do talks about media and things like that with my husband, and he tends to say to people, my advice for people who want to get into media is don't. But if you're still going to do it, it's something of a joke. It's something of a, what it is this is the best advice I could give you. I know you're not going to listen to that because you wouldn't be wanting my advice if you were prepared to hear don't get into media. But you feel like you sort of have to warn someone that it's a horrible way to make a living. It's horrible. If I was 10 years younger right now, I would get out of media because it's awful. Nobody deserves the sheer amount of hostility that people think they're entitled to inflict on people just for having ideas. It's uncivilized, it's unhealthy, and it's draining. I would find something else to do. But, it is what it is now. And I think I'm too far in to change now because I know the realities of retraining and trying to start a new career when you're 40. But I have to admit, since September of last year, more and more, I've had to think, if somebody came and offered me a really great job that was not in media, would I take it? And the answer is in a heartbeat. Absolutely in a heartbeat. And that's not because there's no good people out there. Because I'm really concerned that despite myself, I am adding to the list of reasons that people are cruel to each other. People use some of my work as weapons, and there's nothing I can do about that. But there are times that you really wonder whether you're making a difference at all and whether it's a positive difference, because it's not just about the money. If I was just in it for the money, I'd find something else to do that was more profitable. It's about, not so much helping people because that sounds condescending, but offering a viewpoint that somebody may have but doesn't know how to express so they feel a little less alone. It's about actually making games and geek media better in a small way. It's adding to the dialogue because I understand that a lot of people are too afraid to speak up. I have private conversations with people and they inform some of the things I say publicly. And I'm not speaking for them, but I'm incorporating the good point they had into what I'm saying. But it really sucks that they're too afraid to say it publicly themselves. And I notice that people tend to agree with me privately and attack me publicly. And doesn't that say something about what we consider acceptable behavior online? This is wrong. This is not a meritocracy. This is not letting the best ideas come to the fore. This is a race where the biggest bullies win. And if I can't do something about that, I'm not going to participate in it, because if I can't make positive change, then that means I'm just part of a cycle. And after a while, your conscience can't handle that. And maybe I'll continue this on Mountain Monday because this video is way too long. But so I'll close there and think about it more. But I implore people, before you leave that shitty comment on Reddit or YouTube, or worse, directly at someone on their Twitter, think about what you're actually doing and if you're actually being constructive or you're just being a jerk. Because if callouts like that one I removed continue, I am going to disable my YouTube comments. My YouTube comments are not a turf war in your ideological battle. Come to me and talk to me as a human being. If your movement has no leader, then your movement has no leader. Do not show up on my YouTube wall as a spokesperson for a group I damn well know has no spokespeople. Understood? Good.